Hey, Chef Corso, Outdoor Eats. I'm here to put you on the path to amazing meals on your outdoor treks. And as you can see, I'm not on the trail here today. I'm not in the bushes. I am here at Overland Expo here in Bend, Oregon. I'm teaching some workshops here over the weekend. It is a beautiful, warm weekend here. We are car camping, and look at all these crazy rigs around here. We've got rooftop tents, we've got earth movers, we've got tow behinds, we've got a whole bunch of different stuff here, and it's been a really, really good weekend. The recipe we are making today is we are making a Samosa Bowl. No, not Samosa Bowl. Yes, Samoa Bowl? Samosa Bowl.
Samosa Bowl.
Samosa
Not
Bowl.
Samoa.
Samosa Bowl. Samoa Bowl.
Samoa Bowl.
Samoa Bowl.
That's a different thing.
You know, helping me figure out what recipe we're making is Redbeard behind the camera here today. We are making dinner together here, and so we are making a Samosa Bowl. If you don't know what a samosa is, this is what it is. It is a great Indian fried pastry, usually filled with some spiced potatoes of some kind and some veggies and some sort of sauce on top. And as I had this at a couple restaurants recently, I'm like, this should be a trail meal, right? So it's just fried pastry with some flavored potatoes. And what we're gonna do is, the star of the show is instant mashed potatoes. So what we're gonna do today is I'll tell you about the ingredients for our Samosa Bowl, and also some modifications that you could add to make it extra fancy, extra tasty if you like. This recipe cooks up really, really quickly and is really, really hearty. And yes, we are cooking this here in a field in Oregon with all these rigs in the background, but this is a perfect meal for your backpacking trip as well. So there's two main components for a samosa, and that is some sort of pastry that is fried. And for the recipe that we have over here, you can use pita chips. That's a really great snack that you might be packing along. What we're using here today is old croissants. And so this pastry dough is very, very similar to croissant dough. And so it's basically the same thing, just different form, different thickness, all that kind of thing. So if you have some old croissants and maybe they're already mashed up and stuff like in your pack, that's gonna be great because we're gonna mash it all up in the bowl together anyway. And then for our filling, we are gonna spice up some instant mashed potatoes with some great Indian spices that we'll talk about in a second. And we are going to throw in some nice fresh snap peas for some crunch and some freshness. That's really, I think, gonna be a nice complement to the soft instant mashed potatoes and the fried up pastry. And the thing about this samosa, it is not a Samoa, right? This is a Samoa. And also this is a Samoa, or Samoan, but specifically Samoa. These are delicious too, but that's a whole different video. So let's start frying up our dough and making our bowl. We're all set up here to start to make our samosa bowl. And the first step here is we are going to fry up and toast up our croissants. So I'm just ripping up our old croissants, getting those in there. Does not have to be fancy. Great part about croissants is they've got some really great calories in there. So really helpful for a long haul trail meal. And if they're stale, great, even better. So we're gonna get our burner going and toast these up. But first, let's talk about some spices. So Indian cuisine has a lot of really great, flavorful spice mixes, very, very pungent flavors. So we're gonna go with a garam masala on top with our croissants and our pastry dough here. You could also use some other Indian curry powder. You could also use some cumin or coriander in there as well. And you can even add a little bit of sumac that we might add to the top to give it a little bit of freshness, but we're gonna test that along the way. I'm using my windscreen here. My car camping situation, because it is very, very windy here in the field. And we're just looking for this to start to toast up, get some really nice flavor on there, and get that flaky dough a little bit activated after it's been, sitting in the backpack for a while. Ooh, we're toasting up already. Minding our heat. Ooh, yeah, really toasty on that. Nice, love that. And as Our croissants start to toast here. Feel free to add a little bit more oil if you need. So it keeps on toasting and frying in there. We are also going to add our garam masala seasoning so that can start to activate with the heat. You know, it's a lot of times it's really nice to be able to heat up your spices in some way. You know, they've been sitting in a package for who knows how long, sitting on the shelf. Just wake them up a little bit. Oh, wow. Redbeard, does that smell good?
That smells amazing. I'm downwind.
So that is looking pretty darn good to me. Nice and toasted. Our spices have activated. And I'm just going to transfer our toasted croissants or pita chips, or I'm sure you could probably use a Triscuit cracker here too, but I kind of like the flakes going on in here. And to make this a one-pot meal, we're not really going to clean this up. There's some really great flavor in there, so all good. And we're going to add some water and boil it up for our instant mashed potatoes. This is a great recipe if you're taking instant mashed potatoes out on the trail and you're eating it for multiple meals in a row, and you might be getting bored with the flavor of just mashed potatoes or just mashed potatoes and tuna packet. Just a few ingredients, whether that's spices, veggies, or toasting up pastries, can really change and help elevate kind of some boring flavors or some boring textures that you might be eating for days and days in a row. And so for our instant mashed potatoes, I'm going to add some curry powder. And some cumin, because that's what I've got in the spice box right now. So I can That's pretty good.
Get that crunch.
Get that crunch. We'll go for a little more spice mix on there, yep. Oh yeah, there we go, folks. Great part about instant mashed potatoes is they cook up quick, hydrate up really quick. That's why they're such a staple of the backpacker. Wow, look at those. Those look delicious with their yellow curry powder in there. Give that a try. Wow, awesome, awesome flavor. I'm gonna turn off the heat, adjust our water a little bit so it's a little bit thinner. Those are gonna continue to hydrate a little bit as they sit as well. So some other key components of a samosa filling are some veggies. So oftentimes there's some those small little peas, but I really like packing these snap peas. You can chop them up nice and fine, or you just, it doesn't have to be fancy, just rip them on in there. And you can cook these a little bit if you like, either before or in your water, but I kind of like keeping them fresh and having that crunchy texture in there in order to counteract some of that softness from the instant mashed potatoes. Ooh, there you go. Throw that in there. Other thing you can add, this is going off recipe a little bit, but you could also add some French's fried onions here for a little bit more flavor and a little bit more crunch, and I've got that in the rig, so let's go ahead and add that in there too. Give that a nice stir. Wow. Who would have thought instant mashed potatoes would look so pretty? Redbeard, how's that looking for you?
That looks delicious.
Give that a little try. Wow, that is pretty darn good. And then finish it off to complete our Samosa Bowl experience. Just put that right on top and dig that in there and mash that all in there. But remember, is I've got some add-ons too. So we're gonna taste this, see how it is, and then we're gonna add some add-ons. That's what you do with add-ons, right?
Add the add-ons.
Add the add-ons to see if we can create some other flavors that are interesting and easy packing. So Redbeard, you wanna take a snack with me?
Let's do it.
All right.
It looks like the inside of a samosa.
That's awesome. Like, that's what I was going for. I was like constructedly, deconstructedly constructing it into hopefully a great trail meal. So here you go. I gotta get you a spork here.
Right.
Let's test this out. This is the kind of the classic version.
Right, this is the starter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dig in. Nice and warm.
Cumin comes in.
Yeah, so you got the cumin is coming in. What other things are you tasting in there?
Definitely masala. I like the crunch from the croissant.
Croissant. Oh, I gotta get a pea in there. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Oh, stand by. We got a rig driving by. That'll happen at an Overland Festival.
Yeah, like the piece.
I like the piece too. It adds a nice little bit of crunch, a little bit of freshness. You could easily have them without it, but I think it's a nice touch. I do have some options for you if you don't want to take the fresh peas, but I found that fresh peas last like 4 or 5 days on the trail, no problem.
Absolutely.
So as you're enjoying this, what are some flavors or some other textures or things that you would want to add to this samosa bowl to make it even better?
Well, I like some spice. And Indian food, the spice is amazing. So I think we could add a little bit more to that for my preference.
Yep, yeah. I agree with you too. I like a little bit of spice. I think we could add a little bit more texture in a couple different ways. I think we've got a couple things in the old rig that we can do that with. But yeah, let's add to this samosa party.
Zhuzh it up.
Love it. All right, so here's some ideas that you could add. One, you could add these, which are chickpea snacks. I tried to find these at the store, but couldn't find them on this specific trip. So, in place, we're gonna add some corn nuts. Give us even more crunch and even more calories. Could add some smoked paprika. It's gonna be a little bit spicy, but more smoky. And really, I think, complement some of those spices that are already in there. Could add some more crunch with some pepitas, pumpkin seeds. And for a little bit of freshness, you could add a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of lemon, or you could add some sumac, which is a perfect complement to our Indian and Middle Eastern dish here. It adds a nice little bit of lemony flavor and acidic flavor without adding literally any weight. But to Redbeard's comment about spice, we definitely need that, and we both definitely want that. So I'm just pulling out the old weasel pack here of all my packets that I've procured through the years or days or whatever on the trail to see if I can find some hot sauce. I better have some hot sauce. Ooh, there you go. Yep. A little Texas Pete. And, you know, it's going to be a little fusion here, but we're going to throw a little Szechuan peppercorn in there and some spice because that's all I've got right now. I think that's going to be pretty darn good. But any hot sauce that you like, the sriracha is super nice as well. Cholula, those kind of things can be really nice additions to this. But I think we've got some great other options in here for crunch and texture and flavor. And let's see what this tastes like. All right, so we added some spice, we added more crunch, we actually added more calories too. So this is an extremely hearty meal now. You can also add some protein, some chicken packets, some tuna packets, which I know you guys love out there anyway. But this is this is vegan, actually. Wow, yeah, vegan meal that is quite hearty. How are we doing with our additions here?
So much more crunch.
So much more crunch. Yeah, corn nuts are one of the crunchiest things around.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. I definitely get way more spice going on.
A lot more spice. That's great.
I love that too.
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's
fantastic.
sort of like when you go to a Thai place or Indian place, you kind of want to leave like seeing through time, and like, because you just had a really, really hot bowl.
When people think mashed potatoes bland, this is not bland.
This is definitely not bland. Ooh, man, I love those corn nuts in there. I mean, usually I've made this with the chickpea snacks, but corn nuts may be the winner. Or maybe both, right? Both have a lot of calories and a lot of good filling situations. I forgot about our croissants. I'm so focused on all the crunchy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty darn good. And I'm gonna take a really nice bite. Ooh, man, I just finished with the croissant, the toastiness and the butteriness.
Oh, yeah, the croissant, yeah.
Oh, man.
Really get you.
That is really, really good.
Yeah.
So Redbeard, all you guys out there, you may think Redbeard is familiar because he is. He helped me with a video last year, but you can check this out. Check out the video. We did a review of the, what stoves were they?
A couple of stoves. I believe it was a Genesis and
Jetboil Genesis, that's right. Jetboil Genesis and Camp Chef Everest.
Everest,
Yep,
that's right.
That's right. We cooked up a great brunch on that, and you can check that video out as well. But you are a recipe tester.
That's right.
How do you enjoy being a recipe tester?
Oh,
What does that even mean?
It's fantastic. I've gotten to eat some great things out on the trail. I've had some really jealous people walk by as we're taking pictures of the things we've been making. And yeah, just make sure it works for you all out there.
Yeah, so if you don't know about Outdoor Eats very, very much, we have a whole crew of recipe testers around the country. Redbeard and his wife as well, L'Assassin, also a great recipe tester. But you guys are taking out recipes on the trail, making sure that they work, and we get to share this whole outdoor eating and testing experience, so I don't have to just go out into the bushes and, test out all the ingredients by myself. I get to share it with you guys. But it's a really important part of Outdoor Eats. Also, make sure that they work too. So once they are tested, taking a couple photos, I edit them and hit the website with the recipes. We have over 300 recipes now, but I couldn't have done it without you or all of you guys out there to help me test those recipes to get to 300 in just a few years. So thank you all. Thank you. Any other thoughts to share on our Samosa Bowl here today?
We got to make sure it's samosa. Yeah,
we got to make sure it's samosa.
No, this is fantastic. This is not what I was expecting to eat today, and this is great.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad you like it. And with this pot, this is definitely enough for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to keep on crunching over here, but try this recipe on your next backpacking trip or camping trip or rig camping trip or whatever. But get out there. Boca boca.
Boca boca.